Hey guys, so thank you for joining me for another hair dyeing video. I'm sure some of you have already gotten sick of them, but a lot of you also wrote me and said that you loved last week's video where I answered a lot of your questions. This is kind of a combination of the two because since I released the last couple of hair dye videos, I've had a lot of questions about certain techniques, just various different things, and I'm going to try to answer anything that I've missed in the previous videos in this one. One of the things you guys have asked me about a lot in the last like 2 days is, so I don't know if you follow like any of the Facebook groups or if you follow me on Instagram, you may have already seen this. I know I said I was only going to get 2 of each doll, one to keep with normal hair and one to do hair dye on, but I got myself a third Avery, and this particular wig is one from eBay. I did not dye this, I bought it this way, but I'm gonna list a link below for it. So I will say that I'm not in any way affiliated with the seller. I have ordered from them multiple times. My wigs, sorry, I forgot the air freshener thing. My wigs always come in on time. You know, they do take a couple of weeks because of the COVID delays in the United States, as well as the fact that it's coming from overseas. But I've had no problems with this seller. It should be good, but we're going to explain how I got this wig so that in case you decide to order one, if you order from other sellers, do be aware of their feedback as well as possible postal delays. So right quick, how I figured out what wig to get. We're going to take this very basic Avery, we're going to pop off her stock wig. Alright, got her good and bald, and now I'm going to show you guys how to get the size you need and what these numbers are going to mean. So first off, we're going to take our tape measure. We're gonna hold down one side behind her ear. We're gonna wrap it around where we would want her wig to sit. And we're gonna come up with 7 inches. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that is the size around her dome. It is 7 inches. Now, why is this important? We will get to that in just a second, but first, let me tell you guys how to get that measurement if you don't have a tape measure. Normally I use like a dressmaker's tape measure that's very pliable and like kind of cloth-like. I use it a lot when I'm doing fittings on models for my job. However, I don't know where I put it. So let's say you've lost your tape measure, or maybe you don't have one to begin with. We're going to take some yarn. You can take thread, yarn, ribbon, basically any kind of material. You're going to wrap it around her head just like you would do with the tape measure, and you are going to cut it right where it meets. Now, I've already got one cut because trying to hold her and cut it, as I found out earlier, was not easy to do on camera. And then you are going to take a basic ruler or anything you know the length of, really, I suppose, and you are going to measure the thread that you cut. I'm doing it the wrong end. Centimeters doesn't help because I'm American. But yeah, you're gonna measure it, and as you can see, it comes out, it's 7 inches. So again, that works. It comes in handy if you need to measure and you don't know where your tape measure is. So the next thing is, what does that number mean and why is it important? All right, so wig sizing, a lot of folks on like Facebook and Instagram have been telling people, you know, when you're on eBay or Etsy, just go look up 1/6 wigs. Now, 1/6 is the size of doll in comparison to a human. They're like a sixth of the size of a normal person height-wise. So if you're looking up dollhouse furniture and you find 1/12, it's made for those like miniature dolls. If you find 1/6, it should fit these guys, Barbie, and dolls of similar sizes. The reason why I don't tell people to look up like a size 1/6 for wigs is because if you look up 1/6 doll wig, sometimes wigs made for dolls who are size 1/6 will come up and they're not all the same size. Barbie is a 1/6 size doll. She wears a size 4/5 wig. You know, Tulip is a 1/6 doll. She wears an 8/9 wig. So not all 1/6 wigs are going to be the same circumference size. What you want to look at for Rainbow High is that their head is 7 inches. So a wig that is marked 6/7 or 7/8 stretches from a size 7 inch to an 8 inch, or a size 6 inch to a 7 inch, in that elasticity around the wig. So those are the sizes that you would want to get for Rainbow High. Both sizes work. The 7/8 has a little extra room in the cap, which is why I glued this down so that it wouldn't slide off easily. Whereas the 6/7 is a very perfect tight fit. So OMG dolls also wear that size 6/7. They could probably, at that same reasonable principle, fit into a 5/6, but I stick with 6/7 because I know it works. Because I did rewig my rocker boy. So yeah, I would stick to a 6/7 or 7/8 wig for Rainbow High, and then just type in, 6/7 or 7/8 BJD wig. You should get a ton of results in eBay. Again, make sure you check your sellers, like feedback and everything and their location, so that you can be prepared for any shipping delays and know that you're getting it from a good seller. And that, like I said, I'm going to include the link down below for this rainbow wig because a lot of people really wanted it. Or, you could search up really any BJD wig. Alright, enough about wigging, it's time to dye. So we are dyeing 3 dolls this week. We're using 2 different techniques. The first of which is ombre, which has been very popular in the Facebook groups and in Instagram. A lot of them are always Sunny dolls because Sunny has a light color hair. You see a lot of ombre dyed Sunnies, and we'll get to that in a minute, but right now we are going to talk about, we're dyeing Jade this week, and we are going to give her mermaid hair. So what mermaid hair is like a mixture of colors that you would find like related to like ocean stuff and mermaid stuff. So if you're like your purples and your navy blues and your teals and your greens and like all of these lovely colors, we are going to give her an ombre that includes quite a few of those colors, as well as leaving some of her natural green hair. And then again, like you see a billion Sunnies, all of them pretty much have the same ombre though. It's very much the sunset hair, so it is like a darker red into a fuchsia into an orange into the yellow, or all together red, orange, and fuchsia with no yellow. I want to do something different, so we're actually going to be using similar colors but slightly different. And then I also have this dress that is a Barbie wedding dress from a more recent fashion pack that we're gonna dye. If you see it in the stores, it has a black ribbon belt, and I just removed that, just clipped the threads to remove it. So we're gonna dye this dress as well as her hair. We're going to be doing a slightly different version or different take on that sunset hair that everybody else is doing by adding in a little bit of different color. And then those are very like intermediate level dyes. Ombre is not very hard. It can seem very intimidating if you haven't already done it, but it's actually still kind of easy. It just has a few more steps to it. Then next one is a bit more intimidating. I don't want to say it's like pro level or anything, but it is a bit harder. It is a bit more intricate and it has a few more steps to it. We are going to be giving this lovely Bella some galaxy hair. So if you haven't seen galaxy hair or you don't know what that is, I'm going to include some pictures of all of these, of course, but it's got a lot of teals and fuchsias and dark blues, purples, like colors that you'd see when you think of like galaxy stuff. So we're going to give her some galaxy hair, but we're not doing it in the ombre style, which you obviously can do, but the style that we're going to do it in is going to require some foiling. It's going to require multiple dip dye methods. If you were to do it like human hair dye, like Manic Panic, which honestly would cost you at least $40 to have like the 4 main colors you would use. If you got Manic Panic sitting around at home like I used to, you're gold, because I used to have galaxy hair myself amongst, I also had sunset hair, and I can't remember if I've had mermaid hair. I've had a lot of different colors. Actually, I have had mermaid hair. Gosh, you guys, I've had like a billion hair colors. But anyway, so galaxy hair, like I said, if you have it. But we did also learn last week, at least with the cheap hair dye, that it doesn't come out as dark or as true to color as you think it's going to. And that was leaving it in like 3-4 hours. If I'd left it in overnight, would it have gotten darker? I'm not sure, because that developer really only stays going for so long. If I had done multiple coats, it could have ended up darker, etc. But we're going to use the Rit dye method because it is the fastest method, but the foiling for that is going to be a bit different. So you're going to see that. I've also been asked about dyeing the pleather feeling clothing as well as shoes. I've seen some folks do it with the Dye More dye. I talked to some friends from the tulip community who said that they had used dye more in the past and that it does eventually, especially with the dark or the really bright colors, leach out and potentially stain your doll. So now, knowing that, having people who have confirmed that, again, I really don't recommend the dye more, but I know there are people out there who swear by it, who are still using it. I'm just not one for it personally. So we're going to see how long do we have to leave these in the dye to get them to take color, or will they at all? Guess we're going to find out. And after all of that, we're going to come back and I'm going to show you guys, because I've been asked this a million times, how do I remove the decals on the cheer doll's cheeks, and because it removes their blush, how do I reblush them? This is all like a 5-minute process, but we're going to throw it in this video as well. Alright, let's get dyeing, you guys. Alright, so I've wrapped the ends that I want to keep green in foil. I'm dipping the rest of Jade's head in a mixture of the teal and the aquamarine. Okay, I've rinsed her in between, and now I'm going to take another layer of foil and wrap it up quite a bit so that this color doesn't get dyed over. Okay, and now that we have it kind of more of a darkish blue-green, we are going to add the last color, which means we're going to foil this section off as well. Okay, guys. So one of the questions I got asked was, and this is after doing some purple on the top of her hair, but it kind of just balanced out with the green, was can you do it without the salt and vinegar? The answer is yes, but as you can tell, the colors are not as vibrant. Okay guys, so it doesn't look the way it looks in person on my phone, I think, because this is like a much brighter, like still neon green. So, and it's always hard to tell what color it'll be before it dries, but as you can tell, you can actually see the purple now, you can see the darker blue, you can see the teal. So obviously we have learned that you can do it without the salt and vinegar, but the salt and vinegar make a huge difference as to the vibrancy of the colors. Alright guys, so the galaxy hair is really tough because it does take a lot of foiling, but basically the blue strips that I've left out are now going to get foiled while I take some of the strips that are going to be the next color out of the foil. And we're just going to keep going like that. Alright, also you guys asked me if the Rit all-purpose dye in the powder works. We're going to find out. Oh my god, you guys. This is by far the hardest dye job I've ever done. Like, I'll explain it later, but needless to say, I gave up on the foils at one point and just started dipping stuff randomly, mixing all the colors. I ended up doing her roots purple. Yeah, more on this in a bit. Okay guys, so I dipped Sunny in the fuchsia first, down to where I wrapped for the orange. The yellow is wrapped separately under that, and now I'm dipping the top of her in the purple so that it will blend with that fuchsia. Okay, so this part is kind of hard to show you guys because like I don't have enough hands really, but when you're rinsing your doll's hair, you kind of almost want to hold it like this, or almost kind of sideways, because when all of that dye is coming off, you run the risk of, because if you hold it sideways or like that, when all of that dye is coming off of the doll's hair, you run the risk of it traveling like down the shaft of her hair and staining the parts that you may not want that color. So, like, as you can see, it's already kind of orange, where I was going to dye orange anyway, because some of the red washed down because I was holding my hair downward like this. So just be really thoughtful about how you hold the hair when you rinse it. Okay, so this is the dress after about half an hour, in the fuchsia dye. The shoes I pulled out long enough to see what they were doing, and they were just kind of orange. So, and the heel didn't even dye. So we're going to throw this back in, and I'm going to turn the heat off because I don't want to leave my stove on all day and I have other stuff to do, but we'll come back and see how it looks later on. Alright, we are back with our dyed hands and our dyed dolls, and I'm ready to show you guys the result. So we did 2 ombre dyes, one that was kind of a sectional, like piece by piece kind of dye. I used the Rit powder dye because people had been asking me, does the powder dye work the same as the dye in the bottles? I've got an answer on that. And the pleather clothes and the shoes. So let's start with the Rit dye in the powder. Does the powder work? Yes. And honestly, like, the powder was just as bright and just as, like, what is the word, like, it absorbed just as well as the kind out of the bottle, like the liquid. I actually, because it was so nice, tried the pleather clothing in it. This is after like maybe an hour and a half. It's more mauve in person. I think it kind of looks, I don't know, more brown than it is in person, like on video. But it dyed all the way through. This is not even using dye more. It's just the regular Rit all-purpose. I know some folks have said that they even left the clothing overnight to get an even brighter, more saturated color. I really can't be leaving just like pots of dye sitting around because Sausage will absolutely put his paw in them. Like, I can't even have drinks. Like, if I have like a mug of tea or something, like if you don't watch him, he'll come up and like just stick his little cat hand in your drink. In fact, you guys haven't gotten a cameo from him today. I'm really surprised because he's been very quiet. He got a new cat tree for Christmas and it's a nice rainy, chilly day, so like he's kind of nestled up in there. But yeah, so I would definitely say that the powder dye works just as well, no complaints. As far as the pleather clothing, yeah, you could probably leave it in overnight and have like a really saturated good color. If you don't have pets and you can leave pots of dye laying around, go for it. If I do it, I'm gonna have a very stained white cat, so we're not gonna do that. All right, so the next question is the shoes. And for the shoes, it means I'm gonna have to reveal one of the dolls. So actually, you know what? I'm gonna kick that back a moment. I'm gonna reveal to you the first doll. I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep any of these, but I think I am. Like, I think I love them. If anything, I'll probably sell my dyed Karma because I think she's very similar in color to this Jade. But I felt like, you know, Rainbow High recently introduced that they have sports. They have football, they have cheerleaders. So I felt like maybe they should have a swim team for their resident mermaid. So here is Jade with her mermaid hair. I do feel like the pictures will probably represent the colors better than video does. But it's like very like her, I want to say natural color, but like the color she came with at the very end, and then it graded into a teal and then into a dark navy blue, and then I'd put some purple in at the top. The purple isn't as noticeable in person. Also, I got a scratch on her forehead by accident. I don't think you can see it in video, but my phone rang and I dropped her on the floor. It's been one of those days today where like my brain doesn't feel like it's keeping up with me. So I mean, she's got this little Creatable World swimsuit and some pants on. The dress I originally wanted to put on her did not take the dye at all. I was trying to turn it from a little less purple into a little more blue, and the back of it turned black, but the front of it, even with the more dye, didn't do anything. I was trying to get brave and use it, but didn't actually help. So I will probably get a better dress for her later, something more mermaidy. All the mermaid stuff I have are like oceany themed, is very much like Monster High stuff, so it doesn't fit these guys. It's much too small. But I do think she came out really well. Her hair's not all the way dry yet. I think it'll probably look nicer and fluffier once it dries, but this just goes to show that ombreing is really easy. And there are probably people out there who know even easier tricks to it than I do, but I don't know. I just did my best, so that's what matters. This next ombre is proof of that. And again, so this young lady got the shoes. I did dye some green Karma shoes in that fuchsia dye. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now, they turned orange. Will I repaint them? Possibly. And the heels, the hard plastic heels, did not dye at all. So they actually kind of stayed that like yellow, like chartreusey color. But I will say her hair turned out very sunsetty. We did the purple into the fuchsia, into the sunset orange, or is it sunset? No, I think it might have been the tangerine orange that I used. And then I left her yellow at the ends. I did this white Barbie dress, the same. I didn't actually have yellow, so I just left it not as long on the ends, but it is still kind of orangey. I'm probably going to take this dress in because being a Barbie dress, it's a bit gappy at the bust. But other than that, I love it. I love the way it goes with her hair. Again, the shoes just turned orange and the heels didn't dye at all. But I didn't put these guys in dye more. It is just regular old Rit dye. Some folks had said they'd used dye more, boiling on a high heat for a very long period of time, and it did dye the shoes better. I don't know if it'll dye the heels either way, so that's a thing, but for now, I think it turned out well. So, of course, the last one is probably the hardest one. As you saw, dyeing Bella's Galaxy hair was... it was a challenge. It was. I think at some point I gave up on the foils, honestly. I really wish I had been able to record more of it, but I only have 2 hands. At some point I kind of gave up on the foils. Not altogether, but like for the most part. And I would just hold the hair that wasn't dyed yet up and just sort of taking pieces and dipping them in. I didn't do her roots. I saved those for last. And then just kind of dipped the whole top of her head in while holding the ends up away from the dye. Just dip the whole top of her head in, just how we did the gradient girls, like the ombre girls, and dyed all of her roots all one color. So here are the ends of her hair. So you've got the fuchsia. I did some where they're a little lighter pink and I didn't leave them in as long, some that I left in longer. Same with the purple. Some of it's more lavender, some of it's darker. With the teal, some of it is a little more green, some of it is a little more blue. Some of it gradiates up into the fuchsia and then into the purple. But it's got these really great gradients where it just kind of works its way up. I have dried her hair and curled it a bit just because it was looking a bit thin while it was wet. So I did give her curls. I haven't actually gone through and kind of, you know, used my fingers to rake through them and separate them. But like you can see where certain strands of hair will be light, like a pink or a blue or whatever, and then gradient into the purple. And of course she has this really nice, I guess it's like the Project MC Square dress on. She has a pair of violet shoes with like the moon and stars because it goes with her galaxy theme. So there's all of that. Hopefully you guys love them. Hop over to my Instagram to see better photos of them. And here in just a second, I'm going to show you how I remove the cheer decals off of Sunny's cheeks, as well as how I blush her. Okay guys, so I had a bit of an interruption, but here you go. Here is with one cheek decal removed, one left. And here's what I do. I know a lot of people use like cotton buds or Q-tips, but honestly, you're gonna go through like 50 of them trying to remove this. Probably not literally 50, but like 20. So I take like an old washcloth. I have one just kind of set aside for like craft projects and stuff like that that doesn't really get used for anything else. I take my bottle of like acetone nail polish remover, and honestly, you can probably get like actual acetone. This is just what I had on hand. Dip my finger, like put my finger on the rag, dip it in there, and then I just kind of like gently scrub, and it takes a while. These are actually going like really sludgy, and I feel like the glitter really doesn't help. Like I said, I just kind of lightly scrub in circles, and you can already see where it's starting to come off and just that little bit of scrubbing. Okay guys, it probably took me 5 minutes or less. Her cheeks are pretty cleaned off. There's still like a little bit of glitter on her face, but it's not like the biggest deal. I will say, out of everybody, Jade is actually kind of horrible to take off because it's just thick black sludge that swirls around forever. She did, as you've seen in previous videos, kind of have like little green, they weren't even like super noticeable, but she did have like little green marks. So I've blushed her since, and you really can't see the green marks at all. Here's how I blush them. So first of all, I mean, you could probably use like a cotton bud, a Q-tip, whatever. I have a billion makeup brushes, so I've been putting them to use. This one I've been using to blush everyone's cheeks. It's just kind of one of these little fluffy little guys. And for this, I actually found the color I really like in this particular palette. It's a Too Faced palette. It's from one of their, like, last year's Christmas thing, I think. And so I just take a bit on my brush at the very tips, and then I just go around in circles like this. Here's the blush cheek, here's the unblushed. You can kind of see the difference. So there you go. That is finished Sunny, cheer marks removed, cheeks blushed, everybody's dyed. Again, you've got your galaxy girl, you've got your mermaid girl, you've got your sunset hair and dresses, and guys, I am worn out. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. At this point, like, I don't know what I'm going to do next week. Probably something wild, who knows. I gotta pick up another Skylar and probably another Karma. I feel like I'm not 100% bonded to her, but I'm also kind of weird. I don't really love how my dyed Stella came out because she wasn't the color I wanted her to be. But I like her clothes too much to change her hair to the color I want it to be. We'll see. For now though, I hope that you guys enjoyed everything, and join me again next week for whatever kind of crazy adventure we're gonna have. I am gonna go make dinner, get some rest, and open up this package I just got in the mail. I got this really amazing Hair Adorables Hair Amazing Callie in the mail just now, as well as the fashion pack. Now, I will say, without even trying this on, just looking at it, it's pretty much like their other clothes. The shoes are going to fit rainbow high. They sit a little funny, but they do fit. The clothes, most assuredly not. They're very, very, very tiny, so that kind of sucks, but the shoes look cute. I mean, it gives you more shoe options, so there you go, guys. I'm gonna have to edit the heck out of this because I think I got rambly and weird at the end, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, join me next week. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, all of that stuff. Make sure if you hop on Instagram and you try any of these techniques, tag me in them. I would love to see them. And give me a follow, check out my stories, etc. for more wild dyeing adventures. See you guys next week.